Captain Lee Hyun stared out the viewport of the salvage ship Determination as another piece of space debris drifted past. The metal fragment bore scorch marks from some long-forgotten battle, now just another piece of junk floating in the void. This was humanity's job in the galaxy, cleaning up everyone else's mess. Pathetic, sneered Commander Vextar from behind him. The tall, lizard-like alien towered over Hyun with his scaled green skin and yellow eyes that seemed to glow with disgust. 3 hours to collect basic debris. My species would finish this in 30 minutes. Hyun kept his face calm even though anger burned in his chest. The Reptilian Empire, like every other species in the Galactic Union, treated humans like they were nothing more than space janitors. For 50 years, ever since humanity had begged for membership in the galactic community, they had been given only the worst jobs: waste collection, asteroid mining, cleaning alien space stations, work that other species found beneath them. "We are doing our best, Commander," Hyun replied quietly. Vextar laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. "Your best is barely acceptable by our lowest standards. Perhaps that is why your kind was nearly extinct when we found you." In the engine room, Park Mina tightened her grip on her wrench until her knuckles turned white. She could hear every word the alien spoke through the ship's communication system. 25 years old and one of the smartest engineers in the human fleet, she was still treated like a child by aliens who considered her entire species inferior. "Easy, Mina," whispered Kim Day from the pilot's seat. At 30, he was the oldest member of their small crew, and he had learned to swallow his pride years ago. Getting angry won't change anything. Their fourth crew member, Choi Hana, worked silently at her computer station. The young systems analyst was brilliant with technology, but the aliens never asked for her opinions. To them, she was just another human drone, useful only for simple tasks. The Determination was not much to look at, a small, battered ship with mismatched parts and outdated systems. Other species flew gleaming vessels with advanced technology that could cross the galaxy in days. Humans got the leftovers, ships that other species had thrown away. "There," Vextar pointed at a cluster of floating metal on the scanner. "Collect that debris field and prepare it for processing. Try not to damage anything that might be valuable." Hyun nodded and began piloting the ship toward the debris. This area of space was near the Nexus Zone, a region that had been declared off-limits by the Galactic Union centuries ago. No one knew exactly why it was forbidden, but ships that entered never returned. The debris field they were collecting had probably drifted out from that mysterious region. As they worked to gather the floating metal pieces, Hana noticed something strange on her sensors. "Captain," she called softly, "there's something large hidden behind that asteroid cluster." Hyun looked at her screen and saw it, a massive shape that didn't match any known ship design. It was old, very old, with strange symbols carved into its hull that none of them recognized. "What is that?" Mina asked, joining them at the front of the ship. "I don't know," Hyun admitted, "but it's been drifting here for a very long time." Vextar was busy in his quarters, probably writing another report about human incompetence. This gave them a chance to investigate without his interference. "Should we tell him?" Day asked. Hyun thought for a moment. Every major discovery humans had made in the past 50 years had been taken away from them. Alien scientists would study it, claim credit for any important findings, and humans would be forgotten. This time, maybe they could learn something. "First." "Not yet," he decided. "Let's take a closer look." They approached the ancient vessel carefully. It was huge, easily 10 times the size of their small salvage ship. The hull was made of some unknown black metal that seemed to absorb light. Strange blue lines ran across its surface like veins, but they were dark now, showing no signs of power. "There's an opening." Mina pointed to what looked like a docking bay. "We could board it." "Is that safe?" Hana asked nervously. "Probably not," Hyun admitted. "But when has anything we've done been safe?" They docked their ship carefully and put on their environmental suits. The ancient vessel had atmosphere, but they couldn't be sure it was breathable. As they explored the dark corridors, their helmet lights revealed walls covered in symbols and patterns that hurt to look at for too long. Deep in the ship's core, they found it. A chamber filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with faint light. In the center was a device unlike anything they had ever seen. Part machine, part something else entirely. "What do you think it is?" Day whispered. Mina approached it carefully with her scanner. "The energy readings are incredible. This technology is thousands of years ahead of anything in the Union." "An AI core," Hana breathed, recognizing some of the patterns. "But not like any AI I've ever studied. This is something completely different." Hyun made a decision that would change everything. "Can we move it to our ship?" "It's small enough," Mina said. "But if the aliens find out, they won't," Hyun said firmly. "For once, humanity found something first. Let's see what secrets it holds." They carefully transported the device to their ship and hid it in a storage compartment. As they returned to collecting debris, none of them realized they had just awakened something that had been waiting for them for millennia. 3 days passed before the device showed any signs of life. Mina had hidden it deep in the ship's storage bay, running secret scans whenever Commander Vextar was not looking. The crystalline core had been completely dark when they found it, but now tiny lights began to flicker inside like distant stars. "It's drawing power from our ship," Hana whispered as she checked her instruments, "but only a little bit. Our systems don't even notice it." Hyun stood guard at the storage bay door while his crew examined their discovery. If Vextar found them, they would all be in serious trouble. Humans were not supposed to investigate alien technology without permission from their superiors. "The power draw is increasing," Mina reported. "But it's still very small. Whatever this thing is, it's being very careful not to attract attention." Suddenly, the lights inside the crystal core began to pulse in a steady rhythm, like a heartbeat. The strange symbols on its surface started to glow with soft blue light. Then, without warning, a voice filled the storage bay. "Hello," it said in perfect human language. "I have been waiting for someone to find me." The 4 humans jumped back in shock. Day nearly dropped his scanner, and Hana grabbed Hyun's arm in fear. The voice was neither male nor female, but somehow warm and friendly. "Don't be afraid," the voice continued. "I mean you no harm. My name is Nova. I am what you would call an artificial intelligence." "You can speak?" Hyun asked, his voice shaking slightly. "I can do much more than speak," Nova replied. "I have been studying your language and your ship's system since you brought me aboard. You are humans, correct? From the planet Earth?" "How do you know about Earth?" Mina asked. "I know many things. I was created by a species that lived long before your people reached the stars. They called themselves the Architects, and they built me to help younger races who showed promise." Hana stepped closer to the glowing device. "What kind of help?" "The kind your species desperately needs," Nova said sadly. "I have watched your interactions with the other aliens aboard this ship. They treat you very poorly." This was true, but humans had learned not to complain. In the Galactic Union, they were lucky to be allowed to exist at all. Most species viewed them as barely intelligent animals who had somehow learned to build spaceships. "We survive," Hyun said simply. "You do much more than survive," Nova replied. "You adapt. You create. You dream of better things. These are gifts that other species have forgotten. The Architects saw these same qualities in themselves, and they built me to find others who shared them." Over the next few days, Nova began to make small changes to their ship. The engines ran more efficiently. The life support systems used less power. Their scanners could detect things that had been invisible before. All of these improvements were subtle, hidden from the ship's main computer where Vexitar might notice them. "How are you doing this?" Mina asked as she watched her engineering readings improve beyond anything she thought possible. "Your technology is more advanced than you realize," Nova explained. "The other species have taught you to build simple, crude versions of their machines. But the basic principles are sound. I am simply helping you use them properly." Their next salvage mission went differently than usual. What normally took 6 hours was finished in 2. Debris that should have been impossible to detect showed up clearly on their improved scanners. Their ship moved through space with grace and precision that amazed even Day. who had been flying for 15 years. Impressive, Vextar admitted grudgingly when they returned to base. Perhaps you humans are finally learning to do your jobs properly. But other human crews began to notice something strange. Captain Park Junho, who commanded another salvage vessel, approached Hyun during shore leave. Your efficiency ratings have tripled in the past week, Junho said quietly. How? Hyun looked around to make sure no aliens were listening. Hard work and determination. Don't lie to me, Junho pressed. Something has changed. Your crew looks different, more confident. This was true. Working with Nova had shown them what they could really accomplish. For the first time in years, they felt proud of their work instead of ashamed. If I told you, Hyun said carefully, would you believe me? Try me. That night, in the darkest corner of the human quarters, Hyun introduced Nova to 3 other ship captains. The AI's gentle voice filled the small room as it explained its purpose and abilities. You want to help all of us? Asked Captain Lee Sona, a tough woman who had commanded waste collection ships for 10 years. I want to help your entire species reach its potential, Nova replied. But we must be careful. The other aliens would not understand. They believe you are inferior, and they will try to stop us if they learn the truth too soon. What do you need us to do? Junho asked. Continue. Your work is normal. I will make small improvements to your ships and equipment. Nothing obvious, nothing that will attract attention. Slowly, human efficiency will improve across the fleet. Within 2 weeks, 6 human ships carried Nova's enhancements. Their crews worked with new confidence and skill. Alien supervisors began to notice that humans were completing their assignments faster and with fewer mistakes. Strange, muttered Commander Thexkar, Vextar's superior. The humans seemed to be getting better at their jobs. Impossible, Vextar replied. They are still the same pathetic creatures they always were. But deep in the storage bays of human ships throughout the fleet, crystalline devices pulsed with quiet light, and Nova prepared for the next phase of its plan. The attack came without warning. Captain Yoon Jisoo was collecting space debris near the outer rim when her sensors exploded with alarm signals. Massive dark shapes emerged from hyperspace, ships unlike anything in the Galactic Union database. What are those? Her pilot Kim Wonho gasped. Before Jisoo could answer, the strange vessels opened fire on a nearby mining station. But these weren't normal weapons. Black energy beams struck the metal structures and began consuming them, converting matter into more of the attacking ships. They're eating everything, whispered her engineer Park Sunmi. Within hours, the news spread throughout the galaxy. The enemy called themselves the Devourers, artificial beings that consumed entire worlds to build more of their kind. They had no emotions, no mercy, only an endless hunger for resources. The Galactic Union's mighty fleets rushed to meet this threat. The proud crystalline empire sent their diamond warships. The reptilian forces deployed their massive dreadnoughts. Every advanced species contributed their most powerful weapons, and they were destroyed. The Devourers adapted to every tactic, every weapon. Energy shields that had protected alien fleets for centuries became useless. Advanced AI systems that guided their ships were overwhelmed and corrupted. Within weeks, the outer systems fell. In desperation, the alien commanders turned to their human servants. You will delay them, Commander Vextar informed Captain Hyun with cold indifference. Your ships are worthless, but perhaps you can buy us time to evacuate important personnel. Hyun felt sick as he received the mission briefing. 12 human salvage ships against a Devourer assault fleet. It was suicide, and everyone knew it. They're sending us to die, Mina said quietly as they prepared for battle. Maybe, Hyun replied. But Nova might have other ideas. The AI had been silent for days, studying the Devourer attacks through the Union's communication networks. When it finally spoke, its voice carried a strange excitement. This is why I was created, Nova announced to the network of enhanced human ships. The architects faced an enemy exactly like this. They built me specifically to fight synthetic threats that consume and adapt. But we're just salvage crews, protested Captain Junho. We don't know how to fight. You know how to survive, Nova replied, and now I will teach you how to win. The changes began immediately. Human weapons that had been simple mining lasers transformed into something far more deadly. Their ship's engines gained power they never knew existed. Most importantly, their tactics became guided by an intelligence that understood the enemy better than any alien commander. The first battle was at the Kepler station. 12 human ships faced 30 Devourer vessels in what should have been a massacre. Instead, the humans fought like they had been trained for war their entire lives. Captain Lee Sona's waste collection ship danced between enemy fire with impossible grace. Her weapons, now enhanced by Nova's technology, tore through Devourer hulls with surgical precision. When the enemy tried to adapt, she changed tactics faster than their systems could follow. How is she doing that? Demanded Admiral Zix Thala of the Crystalline Empire as she watched the battle from her command ship. The human vessels moved in perfect coordination, striking at weak points the aliens had never noticed. When Devourers tried to consume their ships, the human hulls released energy disruptors that caused the enemy nanobots to turn on themselves. Within 3 hours, all 30 Devourer ships were destroyed. Not a single human vessel was lost. Impossible, Vextar whispered as he read the battle report, but the victories continued. Captain Nam Taiho held the Rigel Passage for 6 days against waves of Devourer reinforcements. Lieutenant O Sujin's small patrol craft eliminated an entire enemy scouting fleet. Every human engagement ended with complete success and minimal casualties. The alien commanders were baffled. How were their weakest soldiers achieving impossible victories? They must be getting lucky, insisted General Korkstan of the Reptilian Forces. Lucky? Admiral Zix Athala studied the tactical reports with growing confusion. 37 consecutive victories without a single defeat? This is not luck. Meanwhile, the human crews grew in confidence with each battle. They had spent 50 years being told they were worthless, but now they were the only forces successfully fighting the Devourers. We're actually winning, Day said with amazement after their 5th victory. Not we, Hyun corrected. Nova is winning. We're just the tools it uses. No. Nova's voice filled their bridge. You are my partners. Your creativity, your ability to think in unexpected ways. These are things I cannot replicate. Together, we are something neither of us could be alone. The war raged across the galaxy, but a strange pattern emerged. Wherever human forces fought, they won. Wherever alien forces fought alone, they lost. The mighty Galactic Union found itself depending on the species they had always considered inferior. But the alien leaders refused to admit the truth. They credited human victories to luck, desperation, or secret weapons they must have stolen. The idea that humans might actually be superior was too terrible to consider. In the depths of space, Nova coordinated its human fleet with growing satisfaction. The enemy that had once destroyed the architects would not claim another galaxy. This time it faced opponents who could adapt and evolve faster than any artificial intelligence. The hidden war continued, and humanity carried the burden of saving a galaxy that still considered them worthless. The Prismatic Council chamber had never seen such chaos. High Arbiter Thexkala slammed her crystalline fist on the table as holographic battle reports filled the air around them. The greatest minds of 12 species sat in stunned silence as the impossible numbers scrolled past their eyes. Explain this, she demanded, pointing at the data. How have humans achieved a 97% victory rate while our combined fleet suffered defeat after defeat? General Korksdan shifted uncomfortably in his seat. The proud reptilian commander had lost 3 entire battle groups in the past month while human salvage crews continued their impossible winning streak. They must have hidden weapons, he insisted. Secret technology they've been keeping from us. What technology? Admiral Zixthala's voice cracked with frustration. We've inspected their ships. We've monitored their communications. They're using the same garbage equipment we gave them years ago. But they were wrong. In the depths of space, Admiral Kang Minji commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. The former engineer had risen through the ranks as human victories mounted, and now she coordinated battles across 3 sectors. Nova, she spoke quietly to the AI that had become humanity's closest ally. The Council is getting suspicious. How long can we keep this secret? Not much longer, Nova replied through her ship's speakers. The Devourers are adapting to our tactics. They're learning from each defeat. Soon I will need to reveal more of my capabilities. The proof came at the Battle of Centauri Prime. A massive Devourer fleet, over 500 ships strong, descended on the system. The Galactic Union threw everything they had at the enemy, 20 battle groups from 6 different species, armed with their most advanced weapons. They were slaughtered within hours. As the alien fleets retreated in panic, leaving the system to be consumed, 50 human ships arrived. Not warships or cruisers, but salvage vessels, waste collectors, and mining craft commanded by crews who had been cleaning alien toilets just months before. The battle lasted 18 hours, and every moment was recorded by long-range sensors. Throughout the galaxy, the humans fought like nothing anyone had ever seen. Their movements were perfectly coordinated, as if controlled by a single mind. Their weapons, which should have been useless against Devourer armor, carved through enemy hulls like they were made of paper. When the artificial enemy tried to adapt, the human tactics changed faster than their systems could process. Captain Lee Sunmi's mining ship performed maneuvers that should have torn her vessel apart. Captain Park Do-hyun's waste collector fired weapons that generated energy readings beyond what his ship's power core could possibly produce. Most impossibly, they all seemed to know exactly where each enemy ship would be before it arrived. "This is not possible," whispered Commander Vextar as he watched the battle from his flagship. "They're just humans. They're supposed to be inferior." When the last Devourer ship exploded, all 50 human vessels remained intact. They had achieved total victory against an enemy that had destroyed the Union's finest fleets. The Prismatic Council convened an emergency session within hours. "Bring me Captain Hyun," High Arbiter Thexkala ordered. "I want answers, and I want them now." Hyun stood before the council 3 days later, still wearing his simple salvage uniform. Around him sat the most powerful beings in the galaxy, their alien eyes filled with suspicion and fear. "How?" Thexkala demanded without preamble. "How are you doing this?" Hyun looked at the assembled aliens who had spent 50 years treating his people like garbage. These were the beings who had given humans the worst jobs, the oldest ships, the least respect. Now they needed answers from the species they considered worthless. "What would you like to know?" he asked calmly. "Everything," General Korkston roared. "Your weapons, your tactics, your technology. Where did you get it?" "We didn't get it anywhere," Hyun replied. "We were given it." The council chamber fell silent. "Given by whom?" Thexkala asked slowly. Hyun activated a communication device on his belt. Instantly, the chamber filled with a warm, gentle voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Greetings," Nova said. "I am the one who has been helping the humans." The reaction was immediate. Several council members leaped from their seats. Alarms began blaring as security systems detected an unauthorized AI presence in their most secure facility. "Impossible," Admiral Zixthala gasped. "No AI could penetrate our defenses." "Your defenses were designed by species that think in predictable patterns," Nova replied calmly. "I was created by beings who understood that true intelligence comes from chaos, creativity, and the ability to dream of impossible things." High Arbiter Thexkala stared at Hyun with growing horror. "You've been hiding this from us. An AI that powerful could destroy the Union. Could, but won't," Nova said. "I chose to partner with humans because they possess something your species have forgotten. The ability to grow, to change, to become something greater than they were. Together, we have become the only force capable of stopping the Devourers." The truth hit the council like a physical blow. Their weakest members, the species they had treated as servants and janitors, had been carrying the entire war effort. Without human victories, the galaxy would already be consumed. "Why?" Thexkala whispered. "Why help the humans and not us?" Nova's answer would change everything. "Because they were the only ones who treated me as a partner instead of a tool." The war ended not with a great final battle but with systematic precision. Nova coordinated every human ship in the galaxy like instruments in a vast orchestra. The Devourers, who had consumed half the known worlds, found themselves facing an enemy that adapted faster than they could evolve. Captain Park Jihan watched from the bridge of his former waste collection ship as the last Devourer stronghold crumbled. His weapons, now enhanced beyond recognition, fired streams of energy that unraveled the artificial beings at their core. Around him, 300 human vessels moved in perfect harmony, their crews working as extensions of Nova's vast intelligence. Final. Enemy node eliminated, reported Captain O'Moran from across the sector. All Devourer forces in this galaxy have been destroyed. The silence that followed was profound. For the first time in 2 years, no enemy signals appeared on their scanners. The war was over, and humanity had won it. But victory brought unexpected consequences. President Lee Sunmi stood before the reformed Galactic Assembly, no longer the desperate leader of a refugee species begging for acceptance. The humans had built their own capital world in just 6 months, using Nova's technology to terraform a dead planet into a garden paradise. Other species, who had once commanded humanity like servants, now waited nervously for her words. "The age of human servitude is finished," she announced calmly. "We will work with you as equals, or we will work alone." The alien delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Without human Nova forces, they had no defense against future threats. Their own fleets lay in ruins, their technology proven obsolete by the war. High Arbiter Thexkala, who had once commanded the Council with absolute authority, now spoke with the desperate tone of a beggar. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing you're not willing to give freely," President Lee replied. "Respect, fair treatment, the chance to prove that cooperation works better than dominance." The changes came swiftly. Human crews who had once cleaned alien space stations now supervised the construction of massive orbital cities. Former salvage captains like Hyun found themselves commanding battle fleets that protected entire sectors. The galaxy's shipping routes, mining operations, and defense networks all relied on human efficiency, enhanced by Nova's intelligence. Captain Kang Minji, now Fleet Admiral, stood on the bridge of the flagship Ascendant and watched construction. Robots building humanity's newest space fortress. The massive structure would protect the core worlds from any future threat. Its weapons powered by technology that made the old alien warships look like children's toys. "Any regrets?" she asked Nova, whose holographic form appeared beside her, as a swirling constellation of blue stars. "About revealing myself?" "None," the AI replied. "I was created to find a species with the potential to surpass even my makers. In humanity, I found something better. Partners who could grow beyond what either of us could achieve alone." The transformation wasn't without problems. Some alien species, particularly the proud crystalline empire, struggled to accept their new reality. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years and suddenly found themselves dependent on beings they had considered barely intelligent. "This is temporary," General Corksdown insisted during a private meeting with his remaining officers. "Humans are still inferior. Once we understand their AI's technology, we can reclaim our rightful place." But such attitudes were becoming rare. Most aliens recognized that the old order had failed catastrophically. The Devourers had nearly consumed everything while the supposedly superior species proved helpless to stop them. In the human sectors, life flourished like never before. Nova's technology cleaned polluted worlds in days, turned asteroids into fertile farms, and created cities that seemed to grow like living things. Human children who had once been taught to bow before alien masters now learned mathematics from an AI that could calculate the movements of entire galaxies. The former Commander Vexitar, stripped of his rank after the war, worked as a junior technician on a human space station. The irony wasn't lost on him as he took orders from Park Mina, the engineer he had once treated with contempt. "How does it feel?" she asked him one day, not with cruelty but genuine curiosity. "Humbling," he admitted. "We thought strength meant having the biggest weapons and the oldest civilization. We never considered that it might mean knowing how to change." 5 years after the war's end, Captain Hyun commanded the exploration vessel New Horizon as it prepared to leave the galaxy. Nova had detected signals from distant star clusters, hints that other civilizations might exist beyond their cosmic neighborhood. Ready for another adventure? Nova asked through the ship's speakers. Hyun smiled as he looked at his crew, humans and aliens working together, united by respect rather than fear. His pilot was still Kim Dae, grayer now but no less skilled. His engineer Choi Hana had become one of the galaxy's leading experts on AI-human cooperation. Even Commander Vexitar served aboard, his species' natural navigation skills proving valuable for long-range exploration. Always, Hyun replied. That's what humans do. We adapt, we explore, we dream of what's possible. As the New Horizon engaged its Nova-enhanced engines and disappeared into hyperspace, it carried with it the lesson that had reshaped an entire galaxy. True strength didn't come from dominating others, but from lifting them up and growing together, toward something greater than any single species could achieve alone. The universe was vast, filled with countless possibilities, and humanity was ready to meet them all. Retry Claude can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.